Hi, I'm Patty with StudioR12 Stencils. Today we are going to paint a wild and free project, and I'm going to show you how to do drop shadowing with your stencil. I'm going to show you how to spatter. I'm going to show you how to create shading and some ombre on your lettering. We're going to have giveaways, we're going to have prizes, we're going to have fun, and we are going to answer your questions live. So any questions you have, just type them on in and get ready to have your hippie noodle blown and have a lot of fun. All right, guys, I hope you're ready for a lot of learning. I want to share with you that we are going to do drawings. If you like, share, and comment for our brush sets. Our brush sets are brilliant and they help you not bleed under. And then we have a grand prize giveaway, which since we're doing wild and free or free and wild, we thought we'd do our animal heads. So we have a lion head and a zebra head. These are fantastic, painted in like for a boho home, in a kid's room, any place where you just have a little bit, want to show wild side. So the brushes, don't forget you need these brushes. You don't have to have them, but they're amazing. I'll tell you more about them as we get going. So today we're going to do this Free and Wild stencil. And what I've got this started down here, I want to show you how to do drop shadow. Drop shadow is where you do a slight outline on your lettering that will make your lettering pop more. Okay, so that's a very good technique to know. I have been painting for 30 years. I know my way around a round brush or a liner brush. I could do it freehand, but if you do it with a stencil, then it comes out perfect every time. And speaking of perfect every time, lettering. If I was to do all of this with my brush, I would have to trace, I would have to fill it in 2 or 3 times. I would have to then go through and shade and do all these other things. Stencils makes painting signs and art for your house DIY projects fast and easy, so and perfect every time. So tape, we might be flying without tape here today. I'll use Scotch tape. Okay, so I want to tape my stencil down. The very first thing that you do is you line up your stencil with your board, and if your board isn't the same size as your stencil, then you use like a T-square to make sure it's even. All of the things that we're going to use on this project are available on our website, almost all of them, not every single one, but most of them. And that's StudioR12.com, okay? So what you start out with is you want to mark where your stencil's going to go after you're done doing the drop shadow. So first I mark it. So what I did was I did a very light gray, and really you could be, the closer you are to your background, the closer you are to your background color, the easier it will be to mask it. Okay, so this is maybe even just a little bit too dark. Also, I could just do my 4 corners to line it up, and you'll see where I'm going with this after I get done. So since I've already done the gray, okay, so what I would do if I was doing it, I'll show you so that you get it, is first I want to mark the position my stencil's going back in, and I'll just scumble with some gray, okay? And then I've already done that just so that it doesn't waste your time. Then I'll take my tape away, and then what you do is you drop your stencil down about, let's see what we've got here. Line that up with the one I've already got done. Okay, so it's about 1/8 of an inch here is what we've got this one done at. You could do 1/8 or 1/4, and then if my board and my stencil line up, then I can see an even amount of space and an even line there. Okay, so I want that evenness. I can see it even on this side as well. Okay, and then if it's crooked, you're going to know later, and you don't want that. So then I'll tape that down. And then with black paint, our paint is in honey bottles, and we buy it in bulk, and it's acrylic paint. For years and years and years and years and years and years, we've worried about like what exact shade. But if we face it, you're going to go home and you're going to paint this project for your house. Like, so that my palette may not work for your house. And then you might want your purple brighter. You might want your red darker. You might want your, might want it more vibrant. So I think that if we're naming colors, we can name them teal or turquoise or burgundy, and then you can find the one that fits your personality and your style the best. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our black and we're gonna make drop shadow. And so I'll just go right next to this and I'll do all of the characters. So tell us where. We've got Noelle and a couple of people online answering questions. So while I'm doing this piece, let them know where you're from. Say hi to your friends that are online with us on this live. Share with your friends. Hey, you know what? My tape wasn't sticking, and here's my tape. And so you want to make sure that whatever tape you're using, it's staying stuck. Okay, and this is much better. This is a painter's tape. Scotch tape is got a little de-sticky on the back of my board, so we'll just get rid of that. So one of the things that I like to do personally is I like to live with my mistakes live on camera like this, so that it's in real time for you, like we're, as we're filming it. I don't like fake, and I don't like, that's so crooked. Okay, so this is gonna be wrong, and I wanna show you how to fix that because it was sliding around. So I'm gonna take water, I just did that one, and if you get it right away, then you can erase it right away. Okay, so that had a little dusting of the next color on it when I did it, but now I've taken away the crooked. All right, so water is an eraser, paint is an eraser. Say I jacked this whole thing up and it was cockeyed, wonky. If that was the case, then I can take my roller or my foam brush, I can wipe this right back over it and redo it. So it's like nothing, no harm, no foul. So now I'll go back over there and do it again. And this time maybe I won't chalk it crooked, right? Okay, so let me get it straight on my edges. Okay, that looks about right. And then I'll tape over here instead of on the bottom. Okay, so now we'll go into our black. I'm gonna skip this letter because it's gonna be damp, and I'll go on to the next one. Anyway, let Noelle and the people answering questions know where you're from, what the weather's doing, like questions that you have about our stencils, things you love about us. We love to hear what you love about us. Okay, so I have one of these that's already done, so I'm gonna bring that one up because it's just the idea that you're gonna do the drop shadow. Wait till you see this. This is gonna kind of mess with your mind just a little bit. So watch this. It makes it look like 3D blurry. Like it's super crazy how this turned out. It's like awesome. So I'm gonna get this gone. Take my stencil. All right, now that we've got all that done, now we line it right back up with the original gray and with my board, okay? And now my tape will go around the bottom like I had it before. And I can do one corner and one corner so it doesn't slide around. Okay. So now if I shift, like I can't shift it. Won't do it. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're going to use a teal mix. When you're done with your brushes, put them in water, and then you can wash them after you're done, so you don't have to worry about like cleaning them as you go. All right, so get our dark. I've got a finished one down here, so I just want them to be similar. So I'm not gonna show you until the end. Anyway, so this is how you're gonna make the drop shadow. I'm gonna mix these two colors together. This is an offset painting tool, offset palette knife. And when it's offset, that means like if I was stirring with the end of my brush, then I might run my fingers through the paint, so the offset lifts your hand away, and it's great. That's what you want to use for cake decorating, by the way, is an offset one, because then you don't run your hands through the frosting. Although then it's an opportunity to lick your fingers. Of course, you'll wash your hands after. Okay, so we're gonna make our lettering teal, turquoise. Don't know why, I'm slightly dyslexic with the teal turquoise. And then up here on this one right here, we're going to do it soft, and down through the middle, we're going to do it bold. So we're going to start with that one. So notice that I dip into my paint, dry off really strongly on a paper towel, okay? And that will keep you from not bleeding under. I'd rather do a couple of dusty layers than to do one really heavy layer and then have to clean up a bunch of bleeding problems. When you're on big areas of your stencil, you want to make sure that you hold it down, because that will make you sad if you don't. Okay, so then we skip over this because this is going to be where it starts fading. And now I've got to cover this black, so I might have to do a couple of coats with this. And the wild word is the same as the free word, so I'm going to focus on this area right here and not focus on this. It's just the same. And now notice I switched to stippling. I'm doing that because I want to coat it faster. Stippling will coat it faster, and swirling does it softer in thinner layers. But I'm never going to get through that black if I don't hurry up. Okay, so we're almost done with Christmas. So tell me, have you finished your shopping? Did you order everything online? Did you get everything done? Are you a last-minute shopper? I just want to know. What thing do you want from our website for Christmas? We have wish lists, by the way, on our website, so you can make a wish list and then share it with somebody who's going to give you presents. Speaking of presents, Lena made a video that talks about her favorite things that she'd want for Christmas. And that's out there on the YouTube channel, and that's our StudioR12 YouTube channel. I'm going to hold this side down with my fingers. So that's a really big space right there, and I can see it moving. So I'm going to hold it down with the appropriate finger, and that way I won't bleed under. Okay, and then, yep, we go all the way through here. All right, and then we'll go off to the side as well. This side fades just a little bit, so I'll do that softer. And then we'll fade our top. So you can control the paint as you go. So this one, I'm doing a lot more with this lettering, with the colors and all of the things. So it's a little bit more painterly. And so what I love about stencils is you can be very, very painterly with your stencil projects. So you don't have to, it's not just like a craft thing, you know, like you can be actually creative with them, and not that crafting is not creative, but you can be more artistic with them and make art out of them, not just DIY signs and stuff like that. If I'm making a distinction that's not right, put that in the comments and tell me what you think the difference is, because I'm apparently struggling with that. Okay, go. Now don't forget to like, share, and comment, and your comments can be just answers to questions that I'm throwing out there. Like, share, and comment so that we know like what's going on. I'm going to mix some gray in my dirty brush and start changing that to a faded color. All right, and then right about now I'm wanting to peek to see how I'm doing. Are you a peeker? I'm a peeker. Okay, that is almost covered up. So now I'm going to dirty brush back into my teal, my turquoise. I need like a swear jar, but for the word teal and turquoise, because like I'm a goofy goober. Hey, when I was opening up my gray, there was a big wad of paint. I'm going to hold this down. There was a big wad of paint dried up across the top of my bottle of paint. And we were talking about how paint is plastic. So basically you're making like a plastic layer with this. But the other thing that's kind of interesting is, did you know how paint dries? I never knew this until like 2 years ago, and I'm like painting for 30. And actually I think it's been 35. Oh my God. Okay, so paint dries. Well, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you guys a chance to answer this, and then I'm gonna give you the answer in a few minutes, and hopefully I remember to give you the answer. I think that's more fun. How does paint dry? We know it doesn't dry if you watch it. Oh, that's the pot, right? Anyway, I'm doing another coat. I've got a teeny bit of that gray, the gray in my brush. And this is where I want you to kind of feel liberated about moving amongst your colors, because as long as you flow and as long as you like it, that's like the only thing that's important, right? So let's see if I feel like matchy-matchy. I think I'm matchy-matchying. Okay. All right. Then we're going to get our feather. We're going to gray it up. Gray and black. That's what I'll do. Okay. And then we're going to base the feather. And what I'm doing with the feather is I'm just giving it a neutral background because I'm about to bust out some colors on it. So I want it to be something that will accept other colors on top of it. So by doing the neutral, I get rid of the black. It's not too white. It just is a layering technique. Okay. And then, so on the paint drying question, have I given you enough time yet? Has somebody come up with the right answer, I wonder? So paint dries by oxidation. So the exposure to air, to oxygen, causes the paint to start oxidizing and curing. So that is how paint dries. So anytime your bottle gets about halfway empty, you've got all that air in that bottle. That's why it's sometimes better to buy smaller bottles of paint than to buy the big ones, because by the time you use it up, you might not have paint left. So that is good info to have, right? Once your bottle has been opened, you're on a timeline. And running out of paper towel. These projects are very paper towel intensive, and they're very wasty paint intensive, but most of us, most of you wouldn't do something as technical as this because of the time involved if you didn't have a stencil. And this is how you stencil without bleeding under. So like this is like what you have to do to stencil. You can do the, what's the spray, the airbrush through a stencil too. You could do a spray adhesive on the back. You can do, you can frost cakes. We've got videos for that. You want to make sure that you are checking out our YouTube channel, because like with 35 years of knowledge from just me, and then with Lena's knowledge for all of the teaching that she's done, and we've got Carrie doing the Ask Carrie questions, so we're getting people in to answer those questions. There's a lot of content there, so if you need the answer, we probably got it for you. Okay, almost there. Just got to fade a little bit more strong black lines. Fade and fade. And then I'm just not even going to do that because I don't want to be 2 hours in this video. This project would probably take me, if I was doing it without talking to anybody like I'm doing right now with you guys, would probably take about an hour total, just playing with the palette and moving and doing and all that stuff. If I was inexperienced, it would probably, I would say a good estimate would be 2 or 3 hours, or do a session and then pick it back up the next day, or next weekend or something like that, so that you can let it rest. Sometimes resting is what you need for projects, because the irritating thing that you don't like about it will show up then, or sometimes you're just hypercritical and then you'll be like, oh, that does look really good, or you'll see it needs just a tweak of a color in one spot when you come back to it, so fresh eyes kind of thing. Okay, so now we're gonna do a little bit of purple here and there, and here and there. Been hanging around West Virginians too long. We're right over the bridge from there. All right, and maybe just Southeast Ohio has a little bit of that going on too. Okay, so we're going to fade up the bottom, and some people call this an ombre technique, and it's the same thing when you get the dark on the back of your hair and then highlights at the top. That's kind of what this is, but in this case, I'm doing a color at the bottom and not just trying to darken the letter. So we're gonna go at the bottom and we're going to brush up and flick bristles. When these brushes are new, a lot of times you'll get loose bristles, and that is not a problem. I have never had, the brushes I used before, there was green handled ones with fat handles, they would lose like their whole head. But if you have a problem with our brushes, just let us know and we will replace it, so if there's ever any problem. But I've never had to replace one yet, so that's good. Yeah, we guarantee all of our, our stencils, all of our work. We strongly believe that customer service is the thing that you need to be good at. Okay, so we're going to fade, and we're going to do a little fade on the bottom here with purple. And we're going to do a little bit. Yep, I thought so. See, it's so funny. I painted the original, right? And then we painted these steps. And so what's fun is I'm making a decision in real time, and then I look down here to see if I'm doing the right thing, and darned if I'm not making the same decision. So that's kind of fun that I'm making the same decisions I did before. Okay. Trust your gut. And we're not doing a crazy background right now, but I'm curious about what your favorite backgrounds are to do. Like, what's your very, very favorite thing to paint? Like, do you do the same thing over and over? Do you try new things? Are you afraid to try new things? When we were talking and getting ready to film, I'm going to do purple at the bottom. I'm trying to talk and do the same thing. I feel like the doing of this is not interesting. It's the why I'm doing it that's interesting. So I'm trying to make sure just to keep us going along. But all of those presents that you've ordered online and all of the stuff, like I've never ordered as much through online as this year. And I think every year it's gotten more. So whenever you're seeing this video, like it's just, for me, it's increased ever since online became. But what to do with those boxes? Take those crazy techniques that we've been showing you in these lives and in our other videos, cut a piece of cardboard off and just play. Like, just play. Use your stencil over and over. These stencils, you can use them over and over and over again. They're durable, reusable, food safe. Paint some food. Just kidding. Yeah, anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so we have purple, 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 and now we're going to go into a little bit of green. So, whoo-hoo, there's some neon color, huh? So do you see what I mean about that just transition, that soft transition right there? Make sure you shake your paint if you haven't used it in a while, because you're going to be sad. If it's thin, if you see like a liquidy, milky color coming out first and not like a nice domed ball of paint, then you need to shake your paint. And you shouldn't use what you poured out. You should shake it and re-pour. Okay, so that's just if you're new to painting, it's not okay to use paint that's separated. Whatever that clear is the plastic part of stuff, and it has to be mixed through your paint for the paint to work like it's supposed to. All right, so now we're going to do little tickles of green. We're going to do it on some of these beads. We're going to do it on some of the feathers. And so by having that gray under there, this is just going to sparkle just a little bit. And so now I'm going to stand back, I'm going to squint, and I'm going to see where my colors are dancing. And even though I can't see it on the project, I can see it on the stencil, so I can make that decision. So I squint at things. There's tricks that you can do. You can put your project upside down, and you can look at it upside down, because when you get it out of like your normal, that's when you can actually see what's going on. Now it looks fresh and new. So you can squint, you can flip it upside down, you can take a picture of it and look at it on your phone instead of in person. Then you can flip it on your phone and see if you can see like what's wrong, or to see if your colors flow. So that's kind of cool. So I'm supposed to remind you guys to like, share, and comment, and make sure that you're asking questions to Noelle or whoever's on the other line, the other end of the thing. We change seats a lot of times, so it could be anybody, anybody with knowledge, pardon me. But anyway, give them questions, and then we take those questions from you and we give them to Carrie, and we make episodes out of them. So make sure that you're asking her questions. And then please make sure that you're asking, okay, we're gonna do the top, I'm sorry, we're gonna do the top of the letters. Get my mouth going. Like sometimes I just need to decide paint or talk. Just like, don't do both. Okay. Yep. I think we need to kiss a little here. And maybe a little bit over here, a little bit there. But yeah, ask your questions. Don't forget to enter for the drawings. And then we're gonna recast tonight at 9, and we'll have somebody there answering questions as well. Okay, now I'm gonna reveal this, and then we're gonna talk about the next thing that we're gonna do. Zoom. Okay, so see how nice and bright and colorful that got? I'm gonna brush off my bristles. And my stencil. But now I don't like that my feather looks like it is stenciled. Like I want it to look a little bit more full. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, that goes in the water, and we're gonna go back to our turquoise, but I wanna do the light turquoise instead of the mix. Also, notice how wasteful I'm being with my paints. I need to be a little bit, I do this because I don't wanna have to get out my paint a million times, but put out a little bit and then you can always put out more. That way you're not throwing your paint away. That's just like throwing money away. Okay, so I'm gonna get that light color. And then what I'm gonna do is do the top part of this in the turquoise and the bottom part in purple. Okay, but so I've done the bones of my feather. Now I wanna fill it in. So we're just gonna brush without a stencil. You slightly feel like you're painting without a net when you do this. Okay. But see how now that looks like I base coated it. It looks like I started out with something else. And if I wanted to, like, so say I got this very teal and I wanted to, I didn't want that to disappear as much, I can lay the stencil right back on top and I can put my black line, if I need that line to read black, I can put that black line right back on so you can reline up, go back over, reline up, go back over, whatever you want to do. So then I'm going to dirty brush dip into my purple, and that lighter turquoise will help lighten my purple. And then I'm going to feather dust into the base. Okay, so I'm curious about who would this be the best present for? Like, do you have a daughter, a best friend? Would it be great in your house? Like, who do you know that's wild and free? Okay, we'll kiss a little bit over here. And then something that you can do that I think is kind of fun, I didn't do it in the original, but now that I'm talking my way through it and I'm on talking to you, like a lot of times I just really feel like I'm sitting in painting class with you and I'm just like sharing like knowledge. So that's what I kind of like about these sessions. But I'm gonna go back into my teal with my dirty brush. What happens when you do dirty brush, it neutralizes that color into a different color. So it's a little bit of this, and it's now a new color. What's neat about that is it will marry your colors around. So I am not so much always a white background girl. I like movement and I like texture and stuff like that. So you could, if you wanted to, go in your corners and dry off your brush a little bit more. See, did you see that? See how strong that is? So what can we do about it? So number one, not in COVID, right? But you can lick it and you can erase. I can dip in water and I can erase with water. Okay, and now I'll go over to this side while that's being wet with my drier brush. And I could just feather lightly and give a little hint that's really coming off my brush. I'm gonna wipe that off too. So some colors behave differently than other colors. Like if I had a black on my brush, I don't think that would ever happen. But it's good to know that turquoise is one of those colors. So now I'm gonna go on my brush and I'm really gonna push on it to get rid of all of that color. It's probably because this is a dark blue and that's white, and you're just seeing every bit of it come off. So if I was on gray with another color, it'd probably be less obvious. So now we're gonna go back over there, just feather, 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 feather light. And now it's acting feather light. And just kind of hug the corners. I feel like that just kind of makes it just like a little bit more, I don't know, pretty, neat, fun, colorful. Okay. If you are painting this and it wants to go outside on your porch or something like that, you will seal your board back and front with an all-purpose sealer, and then you would base coat and paint, and then you would do a final seal with a polyurethane to make it weatherproof. DecoArt has a fabulous poly, and I love it because it's in a bottle about this size, so it's not like a gallon from Home Depot, and that's a really good product. It's I think it's just their polyurethane finish, and it's in matte and satin and gloss. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side. Might pick up purple and do that. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my napkin. And if you're painting and you put your napkin right in the middle of that, but it's the napkin that you've flipped over 2 or 3 times, but you forgot, then you're going to end up with this paint all over your board, and that will make you sad. So I say throw the ones that are dirty away and then put the new one over on your palette so that you're never tempted to move it onto your piece. That's like just insurance. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to work that off really hard. I bet you there's not like any paint left in here. All right, so maybe we do opposite corners in the purple just to carry those colors around. Yeah, I think that's fun. Okay, now we're going to spatter. And spattering is done with, this is a very abused rake brush, but it's kind of cool because you can see where it's domed. So you can see that it domes this way, so it's shaved up this side and up this side. It's also oval this way, okay? And then this one right here is going to be really hard to control, so I'm showing you what it looks like after it's been very abused. And I'm going to show you this one. I actually find brand new ones hard to paint with as well, so you got to kind of break it in just a minute. Hey, I just moved my cup, and I wanted to share. This one has a StudioR12 logo on it, but on our website we have a whole ton of different fun art that are available for tumblers, and we have them in all sizes and shapes and awesomeness. We have a lot of stuff on our website, so check us out. Okay, I'm going to go into the purple. Okay, here's where we need to be. We're going to splay this brush out, so I've got water, and I am being mean to this brush. Take that, brush. Okay, so I'm splaying it all the way down to the ferrule. You're not going to hurt this brush until you do this to it. I'm not even sure how that happened, honestly. It needs like a haircut. All right, so I'm splaying it out, and I want it to hold its out shape, and now I actually have to go into more water. The more you do this and flip it over and do the other side, you'll kind of open it up. Okay, so I feel like that's a good amount of open. So see how I can see all those teeth? That's what I want. All right, so you always test on your palette, and then you move your bag. If you're wearing a white shirt, wear an apron. Aprons are coming too, by the way. StudioR12 aprons. Okay, so we are going to hold it way up here, and we're going to snow with purple. When you hold the brush up high, and notice I'm not doing this, there's no control with that. You have to do it the other way. Okay, and now maybe I want some fat spatters. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do thin paint, so thin it with water. I'm gonna hit it once over here, I need more. Once over here, and then I'm going to get some fatter little spatters. We'll go into the turquoise. I've done it right like twice. Remember to like, share, and comment. When you share and when you comment more than anything, what I've noticed, like I garden and things that like I'm not a professional at. I garden and I cook and I do that kind of stuff. And what I do is I go to the comments on those videos that I watch and I read the comments, because the comments will be like, oh, like I didn't think about like how do you get the ducks back into their shed at night, you know, like that's like such a good question. So you guys are going to ask questions and it's going to help your fellow crafters. I'm going to test over here and then maybe I'll just spatter this through my letters. Maybe on wherever my teal is. Yeah, and then I know I have some up here, so I'm going to do it through there too. All right, and I think we're done. Now let me show you the finished one so that you can see it complete. Okay, so there's our finished. And actually, one thing that I couldn't see down there is that I left the middle not spattered. So the way that you do that is you take your brush and your other brush, load it, and you do all the things I said. Let's get that out of here. And then you're going to spatter this way, this way, this way, in the direction going around, and you'll just turn your board. That'll keep the spatters out of the middle, and it'll spatter heavily on the sides. So I hope that you are going to paint wild and free, or free and wild, and have a great day.